Here is another update on the Turbo XT. The biggest thing I've changed is that there is now a custom BIOS chip in this thing. That removed the error 4 that was plaguing me for so long, and it also makes it just slightly faster and gives me some features like the ability to switch between turbo mode and slow mode with a keyboard combination. I also decided to install two 3.5-inch 1.44 megabyte floppy drives. And while that is extreme for a Turbo XT, I'll explain why in a second. So this is my stack of 5.25-inch diskettes. About half of these are made for the Apple II, and the other half of these diskettes are all 360K diskettes. And I have found that putting 360K discs in a 1.2 megabyte drive, after a while, they just kind of stop working. And I've already killed about 2 or 3 discs out of this pile that way, and I'd rather not continue to do that. So what that means is that that whole time that 1.2 megabyte drive was sitting in this bottom bay here, it was completely unused. It was kind of just a decorative piece, and that really bothers me. If I have like a drive or something in the computer that's supposed to do something but it actually isn't doing anything, it drives me crazy. I hate it. The drives themselves I got in one lot on eBay, and then the adapters, the 3.5-inch to 5.25-inch adapters, I got in a different lot. It just so happened that the tone of the plastic matches almost perfectly. From a distance, it almost looks like that the 5.25-inch bay covers are built into the floppy drives. I'll go ahead and show you what the new BIOS screen looks like. And as you can see, it boots right up. There's no error 4. I don't have to hit a key. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I cannot stress how crazy that was driving me with this computer. And what happened was I found a ROM file for an updated BIOS for Turbo XTs online, and I bought a flash chip on eBay, and it turns out that the seller was kind enough to flash the chip for me with that BIOS file. And so I was able to get it in the mail, remove the old BIOS chip, put the new BIOS chip into it, and it just worked. Another thing that has changed is the hard drive. I wanted the 400 megabyte drive, or it's like 420 megabytes, something like that, for my 486. And I had a 600 megabyte drive with a lot of bad sectors lying around. And when I say a lot of bad sectors, I mean a lot of bad sectors around the start of the drive. The first 11 megabytes is okay, and that is what I am using. Here is the inside of the computer. You can see the memory expansion card there. That's got 128K of RAM on it. And then down here you can see the start of the 2 rows of 256 kilobit chips for a total of 512K. The first card is a floppy disk controller that just so happened to support 1.44 megabytes. This actually came with the computer, so I got really lucky there. The second card also came with the computer, and that's the Video 7 Vega VGA card. I believe it has 256K of video memory. The third card down here is the IDEXT. I got this pre-assembled on eBay. Of course, the memory expansion card is in the other slot down. And then the last slot is for the additional serial controller card. Even though this memory expansion card has a serial port, it's the older 25-pin standard, because as you can see, the expansion bracket is actually for an IBM 5150. I don't have an adapter, or know if even one exists, to adapt 25-pin serial to 9-pin serial for my serial mouse. So that is what function this other serial card here serves. Here you can see the upgraded BIOS chip. It's a 256 kilobit chip, so the BIOS file that's written to it is just a bunch of the same BIOS file over and over and over again. I believe it's either 8 or 16K in size. And the only thing the computer reads is the first write of that BIOS to it. And that just allows such a large chip to fit such a small BIOS ROM.